Today we're gonna do another in-depth look at two more characters, talking about Shadow and Irvine. And we're gonna do a run on the Twins Lost Chapter, Chaos. We're gonna use Ifrit to bump up our attack as much as possible. We're gonna use a nice Ash friend, because why not? And we're gonna round up our composition with Selfie, which will be our support, mainly for safety. And yeah, we're gonna analyze what Irvine and Shadow do. We're gonna do the fight, we're gonna see what we can do, and yeah, let's go. All right, so first of all, we immediately, you can see that I'm running like a fairly low damage composition overall. We have our big damage guy, which is Shadow here. Irvine is an enabler type of character. By himself, he doesn't do like super amazing damage, but he does very well in combination with other characters, and Selfie is as a support. So, Shadow is a big single target DPS focus character. A lot of single target damage. He has some splash on his EX as well. A lot of skill uses, as you can see. 9 uses here, 12 uses here. This is because Shadow is a character that will use ability or skills very often, like continuously. So Shadow will likely constantly use skills, which can lead to some problems if you don't manage them a little bit, because yes, he has a lot of skills, but you will see that he can burn through those skills very fast. And yeah, he will be our main target DPS. Shadow is the whole gimmick of Shadow with his EX and everything is having this follow-up attack with Interceptor. Whenever he uses anything, any of his EX or base abilities, he will trigger an attack with Interceptor that does a bunch of bravery damage and HP damage that ignore defenses as well, which is really important to note. And also whenever he evades. He has evasion on his Fade to Black, his new framed buff here, which has speed and evasion rate. So his evasion rate is not 100%, otherwise he would literally be pretty much unkillable and do a crap ton of damage. His evasion rate is about 70%, I believe. So not always he will be able to evade attacks. When he does, he will trigger the Wild Fang counterattack with Interceptor, as we said. Alright, so his Shadow main's abilities are very easy to understand, actually. Nothing crazy going on here. So, Shadow Stealth is a bravery battery. Note that Shadow Stealth is the only part of his kit that is melee. So, while he is mainly a ranged character, Shadow Stealth is still a melee attack, so keep that in mind. So, Shadow Stealth, a bunch of bravery battery based on his own attack, usually enough to almost fill your bravery completely, plus a bunch of hits, a bunch of overflow. You gain Fade to Black, 10 turns, and attack up 2, high turn rate. You'll see that both of the abilities of Shadow have high turn rate, so this is something to keep in mind. Shadow is very fast. So Shadow Stealth is this type of ability. Wild Throw is a little bit more of his bread and butter ability, I would say. Pretty strong. 3 hit ranged bravery attack plus HP attack 2 times. Okay. Max brave up 2 and a high turn rate. So his abilities are very direct, as you can see. Nothing crazy going on. So let's use Wild Throw. So as you can see, after we used Wild Throw, we triggered the Interceptor attack. very, very strong total damage if you consider everything here. We did about, what, 90k damage, maybe even more. So that's why Shadow does so much single target damage, because anything that he does or that he evades, it triggers the counterattack. Alright, we will talk about Irvine more later. For now, actually, let's just switch Irvine out. And yeah, let's use Ash. Alright. Okay. So now we have the modified version of our bravery and HP attack. Both are pretty cool, actually. So throw is a two-ranged bravery attack that ignores defense with high turn rate, and HP attack plus, it's basically the only part of his kit that doesn't have high turn rate, but it still has the ignore defenses. So basically anything that Shadow does is high turn rate, and almost everything, or rather some part of his kits are high turn rate, and some other part of his kits ignore defenses as well. Alright, so throw, HP attack plus, and the interceptor counterattack all ignore defenses, while Shadow Stealth, throw, wild throw are all high turn rate abilities. So keep that in mind. Alright. Okay, we evaded, and we trigger Wild Fang. That's how it goes. As you can see, Shadow is very, very fast. We already have another turn, and it's really easy to kinda burn through abilities a little bit too fast. He has a lot of abilities, but you can definitely run out if you're not careful, especially on very tanky boss fights. Alright. Let's continue our fight normally for now. Alright, let's use Shadow Fang. 80 ranged bravery plus HP attack, 180% overflow, 50% splash damage. Keep in mind that all the bravery hits are single target. It's not an AoE move. You get the special effect for interceptor, like we said. Let's go. Interceptor. So it's pretty cool because the base, I would say that the base damage of the EX is still good, but it's not like super amazing. But of course you have the trigger of the interceptor attack, which makes the damage way higher. So it's actually a little bit deceptive, anything the Shadow does. Remember that, you know, interceptor here does a lot of damage. Okay. Okay, let's try to use throw. As you can see, we hit very hard because we ignore defenses. We proc the poison. The poison is the crystal level 50 for Shadow here, similar to Vivi. They have the possibility of triggering poison whenever they do HP attack. For 3 turns, it's not a super huge poison. It's, I guess, a nice little thing. Nothing that will make you jump out of your chair, but it's a decent thing. Alright, let's just go a little bit faster now. I'm gonna try to save few users with ability users with Shadow here if we can. Let's try to get to the last wave, the boss wave. My Shadow has 3 spheres, so the speed down that you see procced here, it's not baseline on his kit. It's a sphere that I gave him. So just as a reminder. Alright, Irvine, we'll talk about you later on. For now, just do this. Okay. As you can see, we did more damage now with Shadow Fang. Have you seen that? We did higher. We had a higher overflow. This is because of Irvine, but like I said, we'll talk about him a little bit later on. Alright. Healer Irvine. Oh yes, man. As you can see as well, Shadows has like a lot of turns on his buffs, like 10 turns on his frame buff. But as you can see, he kind of runs out fairly quickly. So that's all because of his speed. Which you can increase even more with artifacts, but I'm not sure you want to do that. Alright. Selfie. Of course, selfie helps with longevity as well, because, you know, using more EX skills means also, like, saving more baseline skills. Should have waited to use that one here. I was a little bit distracted. Alright. Let's see if we can dodge some attacks here with Shadow. And we will talk how his added ability is very, very useful as well. Couldn't dodge that one. Happens. Gonna talk about Irvine's EX as well later. For now, let's just go through these waves. Okay. Alright. We are going very, very chill here. No rush at all. Alright. We got to the boss wave. So you got the idea of what Shadow does. He's a big single target focused DPS, like we said. Let's talk about Irvine 2 now. Alright, first of all, since we are here, I want to talk about the added ability for Shadow 2, set evasion up. You get 3 turns of massive evasion, which is 100% evasion, so you will dodge everything and a little bit more attack. So basically this is, keep in mind that it gives you literally another buff as well, the evasion buff for 3 turns. So keep that in mind because you might be full on buffs. Very important for him because, like we said, he will not always dodge. but 3 times, or for 3 turns for 3 times, he can use that to dodge 100%. So when you are targeted or double targeted, you might want to use that to ensure that you will evade and counter every attack. Very, very useful. For now, let's not use it. That was our last turn with Interceptor as well, so the special effect went out, which gives us a little bit of stats as well. Alright, Irvine. Irvine from FF8, very peculiar character actually, in a sense. Is one of the only, I believe only 2 characters right now in the game can do the ranged resist down on the enemies, with Scattershot, the other one being Fran. But they are very different characters, I would say, Fran and Irvine. So the ranged resist down, of course, is a very unique debuff. 4 turns. You will basically put the ranged weakness on the enemy, or on any enemy, which enables immediately any other ranged character that you might want to put with him. And not only for these reasons, but for other reasons too. You want to pair Irvine with other ranged, or at least another ranged unit, I would say. I mean, you can play him by himself too, but it's not, I would say it's not optimal. So, Irvine, what does he do? Okay, his main 2 abilities are multi-hit abilities. The first one is single target, a bunch of hits, decent damage overall, but keep in mind that the damage of Irvine is tuned around hitting weakness, so you need that ranged weakness on the enemy. A little bit of overflow, speed down on the enemy, which is very interesting in my opinion, and max breathe up for yourself, which is also very important. Scattershot instead is a group bravery plus HP attack, more overflow, proportionate damage, guaranteed hit, which is something that not a lot of characters have, but keep in mind that it is a guaranteed hit, so you cannot miss with this thing. You gain 2 buffs, fairly important, physical attack up and bravery regen, especially physical attack up, very important. So, straight away we wanna put the range resist down. Alright. Now, Irvine. Irvine has a very unique buff, very unique buff, called Snipe. We gain this one with the EX ability that we will see very soon. A bunch of max brave, raises party attack, and amount of stolen bravery may exceed max brave with ranged bravery attacks, and doesn't stack with other, do more of the same buffs. So a very unique buff. The most important thing here is that, yes, you get a little bit of party attack, you overflow more with ranged bravery attacks only. So only for ranged bravery attacks you gain more overflow, which is why other ranged characters can really benefit from having Irvine. For example, someone like Baltier, I really like to pair with Irvine, because you know that Baltier's EX does 100% damage to every target. You gain more overflow on that, you know, that's really potent. So there are some very cool synergies that you can do with that buff. Alright, let's play the fight. Let's call Interceptor. Alright. And of course, Shadow, someone like Shadow, of course, benefits a lot from this thing. As you can see, our EX was able to overflow more. Not only that, especially the range resist down is great for Shadow, because Shadow already ignored defenses. With range resist down as well, it basically ensures that you gain massive damage every time. You've seen that Interceptor counterattack, how much damage it did. Very nice. Alright. Let's go. Okay. Let's use canister shot and do some speed control and gain some max brave. We have a little bit of buff overflow, but it's fine. Of course, the bosses will get more tanky as they go down in health. Alright. Awesome. Armor shot is Irvine's EX. So, 4 hit bravery attacks plus HP attacks delivered 3 times, extra bravery damage to target afflict with range resist down, a bunch of overflow, 20% of cumulative HP damage to non-target on last HP attack. Restores party HP based on cumulative HP damage dealt to target up to a cap. And you gain snipe, like we said, and refreshes the range resist down. Now, this one is a slow charging EX. It is pretty strong, actually, pretty impactful, and it's the main, big damage source of Irvine, really. The most peculiar thing that you might have noticed is that Irvine is actually a healer, or an off healer at least. It's pretty weird, but he does a bunch of healing with his EX, which, like we said, is low, so it's not like on-demand healing at all. But you do have a little bit of healing on his armor shot and on his HP plus. His HP plus does a little bit of healing, a tiny bit, not a lot, but you can just heal through HP plus with Irvine. So he has that too. I guess they just really wanted to give him even more like party-wide support capabilities. So great for ranged characters, but he can also heal. And I did a few runs where I just used Irvine and as my soul healer, and it can do it. It's not as easy to heal with Irvine as with other characters, of course, but it can do it. All right, armor shot. As you can see, very respectable damage with splash damage in the end there. So very good. Of course, when the bosses get more tanky, Irvine is not one of those characters that hits hard as a truck with bravery hits, so can suffer from that. Keep that in mind, even with range resist down. Depends on the fight and your compositions, as always. Alright, they are about to do a double all attack, and we could set up evasion with Shadow to ensure that we evade, but keep in mind that we are very fast. Look at this, if I use Wild Throw, see that? I gain another turn immediately, so let's do that. Now we can use evasion. And let's use Shadow Scale too. Oh wow, another turn, okay. See? That's how fast he is. He's Sonic fast. Nice. So it can burn through buffs very fast, Shadow, as you can see. We already are out of wall and auras with Shadow. The buffs from Selfie here. As with any very fast character. Alright. We dodged both the attacks, thanks to our added ability. Keep in mind that this snipe buff, the overflow, the ranged overflow party-wide from Irvine affects, as you've seen, the interceptor counterattacks too. So since we already had a bunch of bravery, we were able to do more damage with that counterattack right there. Did you see that? Like 50k plus damage with the counterattack. So another thing to keep in mind. Alright. Alright. Definitely gotta refresh the wall here from selfie. Can't always evade. Alright. Ouch. Let's use the EX and let's play the fight out. Let's see what we can do. Awesome. Let's heal up a little bit. So you've seen that we did heal a little bit with Irvine's HP plus, which can be very useful. Alright. Let's see. See, we jump in turns with everything that we do, except the HP plus, which I'm gonna do. I need to refresh the range resist down too. We have the armor shot ready just for that. Alright. As you can see, we are not hitting weakness right now with Irvine because the debuff was off and the damage suffers from it a lot. So try to keep your ranged resist down up all the times. It lasts only 4 turns and on fast enemies can run out. But keep that in mind. Okay, let's see. Where do we land with various attacks here? Alright. Nice. Okay, we have both of them at about 50% health, so we're doing, you know, good spread damage overall, I would say. Just shadow stealth a little bit. Alright, I'm probably gonna set up evasion here as well. Shadow Fang, since we are double targeted. Okay. That's just HP attack. So keep in mind that if you're running a tank with Shadow, he cannot dodge. Basically, if you taunt, if you have someone else taunting, you can still do damage, good damage, but of course you want to counterattack with Shadow too. So that's not optimal. Another thing that you cannot do is like if you run Galuf and you cover Shadow, only Galuf counters, of course. Shadow doesn't counter, even when he is targeted, of course, because Galufs cover it. One thing that you can do with Shadow is running Edge, so another ninja, and you know the Edge has party-wide evasion, so that still counts. He can still counter on that, of course, just as a reminder. All right. So as you can see, the bosses are getting pretty low on health. They are getting buffed up, but with the range resist down and the defense ignoring mechanics of Shadow, we are still doing very, very respectable damage. As you can see, we are starting to run low on abilities though. This one will hurt. Nice. We have a way of healing ourselves, of course. Yeah, it's just to drain. Yes, wild throw. Armor shot. As you can see, armor shot is much harder when the enemy is already with the range resist weakness. We are not doing max damage, but still good damage. Okay. I would say it's time to summon 2. Let's use Aura. Oh, and I didn't talk about the Irvine's other ability. We'll do that. Alright, let's wall up too. It's fairly simple. 2 hit ranged bravery attack plus HP attacks, and add 2 turns to inflicted debuff duration. So it's pretty simple, nothing strange. It can be useful to dump bravery before doing an EX or something like that, or maybe you want to dump bravery and then scatter shot, you know. It's useful especially for those type of scenarios. And of course you can increase the duration of the inflicted debuffs, which is fairly decent. Okay, so you don't, yeah, you don't burn through them as fast, so it can be useful. Alright. Let's try a nice shadow stealth here. Oof. Right. Okay. Just so we can show it off. There's one. Yeah, let's just do the other one too. All right. Awesome. I wonder if we can kill this guy. Yes, we can. All right. Okay, so this was the overview of Shadow and Irvine together. And Selfie combines really well with both of them as well. So I hope this gave you a pretty decent idea of what these two characters do. I don't think they are particularly complex characters to understand or play, but there are some things that you need to keep in mind. For Shadow, always keep in mind or always watch the turns when he lands, so you can set up your evasion and stuff properly. Remember that he ignored defense, which is very important. For Irvine, of course, he benefits a lot from having other ranged, or the other benefits a lot from having him in the party, especially if they are ranged characters. He has these healing capabilities, which can be definitely useful. And that was it. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you guys soon.